Good morning, good morning. How is everyone doing today? Just trying to find my notes page here. Happy Saturday. Just need to get some tea. My cute little mug. And I'll just show you real quick. I have 2 tea bags today, and actually that's going to apply to what we're going to talk about today. Welcome to Herbal Self Care Saturday, March edition. Yay! If this is your first time joining us, I'm Erin Harwood, one half of the herbalist farmer ladies behind Garden Delights Herb Farm in Brush Prairie, Washington. My mom is the other co-owner and herbalist farmer lady. She's probably watching from her her farm, the farm where we work. All right, so we're changing things up. For those of you who have joined us before, you've probably seen different background behind me. It was a little too chilly to sit outside today, but I just couldn't not have the sun and plants near me when spring is coming. So we're also changing things up a little bit this time. Quick recap. In January, we made infused herbal calendula oil, and then you could turn that into a salve, or we did shea butter. And then in February last month, we did herbal sugar scrubs. So lots of skin things there for winter. And spring is coming. It's coming. We're in single digits. Countdown. For those of you who are counting down to spring, we are in single digits counting down to the first day of spring. Actually, 1 week from today, from this Saturday. So if you can't tell by my face and my background, I'm excited. And so on that note as well, we're changing things up. There's not really a specific DIY. So you don't need any, I was posting earlier, you don't need anything special. I was showing my tea earlier today and how I've purchased tea. So even herbalists do purchase tea as well. And I have 2 tea bags today, and that's exactly what I'm going to be talking about a little bit is tea. All right. Thanks for letting me grab some tea. So yeah, we're changing things up just a little bit, and I have 3 herbs that I'm going to talk to you about today. And this month we're focusing on transitioning your teas from, hi Ada, yay, tea, I know, right? We're talking transitioning your tea from spring to winter. So a quick little tangent or background story. I don't have the best circulation, and so my hands and feet are cold, especially in the winter time, like really cold. So my winter tea is oftentimes a lemon ginger blend. So ginger, like really spicy, warming you up from the inside out. And it is, of course, hopefully soon, going to be getting warmer as spring comes along and we work our way even towards summer. And so I don't need that ginger anymore. I don't need it to keep me warm. The outside ambient temperature is enough to keep my poor little digits warm. And so it's time to transition my tea to something else. So I thought I would share what it is that I'm doing and tell you a little bit about how I have some seasonal teas that I like to drink. And I'm just checking my notes, make sure I cover everything I wanted to. Yeah, so like I said before, in super excitement, spring is coming. It's time of when we're seeing all different kinds of transitions, right? The sap in the trees is starting to rise. We can see the buds. Sometimes we can see some actual blooms of some flowers, some early flowers that are coming out. And just all of that energy that's coming up along with that, right? Like just all this rising of things. And so along with that, then of course means like that nice warmer energy, ambient temperature as well. We're kind of shaking off the slower pace of winter, and we're getting outside hopefully more, doing some more things. I know in the last couple weeks, Mom and I have been planting so many seeds and doing all kinds of fun stuff like that. So we're a little bit busier. So sometimes that means we can actually even start warming up a little bit and maybe we need to cool ourselves off. So the herbs that I'm going to be talking about today are actually really good for that. So they bring this nice sort of like even balance or modulation at this time when we can have like really high temperatures, and then it gets really low, right? It gets cold. So lots more movement, lots more like vibrant, active energy. You might be eating a little bit differently if you're growing any of your own veggies, or if you're heading to the farmer's market, there's a lot more like bright, fresh greens, right? And so rather than the heavier winter squash and potatoes, we like potatoes, we're Irish, lots of potatoes in our family. Those kind of like heavier things, we might be going to some lighter things. And so maybe that transition of your diet might make your tummy have some rumbles. So the herbs I'm going to talk about today can help with some of that stuff as well. So let's dive into those 3 different herbs that you can make teas out of, and that I'm actually drinking 2 out of the 3 today. The first one is nettle. So yes, that nettle, stinging nettle. You can go out and you can harvest it yourself if you want. I haven't gone out lately into the woods near us to see if it's time to harvest, but it's definitely getting close to that time. Comes out pretty early in the year. Previously, it was grouped in with mints, with the mint family, but now it's like off all by itself. But it does still have kind of a little bit of a squarish stem. Not that you want to touch it with your bare hands because stinging nettle. It has these really nice, almost like heart-shaped, fringed or frilled leaves. And there aren't too many things in the forest that look like it. I think it actually looks very similar to anise hyssop. If anybody's grown giant or anise hyssop before, that it looks kind of a lot like that to me. And this is the perfect time, this springtime is the perfect time to go out and harvest it, or you can buy it, not sponsored. You can just get like a nice plain, that's one of the things I'm drinking today. Or you can get dried nettle from Mountain Rose Herbs. On that note, dried nettle oftentimes is best because it doesn't have all those little prickles. Sometimes people might have a reaction, not anything really major, just like some hives or some itchy skin. And oftentimes that's just to the fresh, and it's because of all those little prickles that are on there. Those tiny little thorns, they actually have other little like backwards going thorns. That's what makes them really hard to get out. And I oftentimes just dissolve them with some black salve and a Band-Aid if I mishandle things a little bit. So I'm almost always wearing gloves when I harvest them, but you can just buy dried nettle. There's a couple apothecaries in Battleground, or there's probably an apothecary near you where you can get some. And it's super rich in calcium, iron, vitamin K. The roots of nettle, they really pull up a lot of these really great nutrients, and they're oftentimes kind of on the fringe edge of the forest and like along the drip line of big cedar or Douglas fir, in there amongst the ferns and salal. And they like it to be a little bit wetter there, so they're oftentimes on fringe areas. So they like some sunshine and they like to be moist. And their roots are super good at soaking up all of these minerals and nutrients, and then those get into your body when you drink it. So super good that way. One of the things I've had really great experience with nettle before too, and I'm actually experiencing it right now because again, that's one of the tea bags that I have in my tea today, is that because it has all these really nice nutritive minerals and nutrients, it can give you like a little burst of energy, like that spring energy. That's when they're coming up. That's when they're one of the first early sort of forest herbs to emerge. That energy that we're talking about, feeling right now, the movement of the sap and all those buds coming up, like whoo, that's in the nettle. And so then it gets into your body and it just gives you that little boost that you might need. And so I really like it that way. And then actually, because it's also associated with spring, it can be really good at helping people who have those springtime allergies. I'm not one of those people too much. This time coming out of winter, when there's still like molds and fungus and stuff like that, is sort of the bane of my allergy season. So pollen and stuff, knock on wood, right now it hasn't bothered me a whole lot. But for those people that those spring pollens, like the tree pollens and things that are coming out early, nettle can actually be really good for those kind of things. And then hives, eczema, skin type things, it's really good for helping to kind of clean out your system, get sort of stagnant energy moving along. So nettle is super, super good. Kidneys, liver, all of those kinds of parts of your system that are trying to help move things along, right? And detoxifying just normally in their normal existence in your body. That's what your livers and kidneys are doing, or detoxifying all the time. Nettle's super good at supporting that. So nettle, I need some more, sorry. So usually it's just the leaves dried is what you end up doing. And so if you do want to go out and harvest your own, just make sure that you take the first top little bit only, and then leave it, and it will grow back. And you want to get it before it flowers, just like every other kind of herb. And then once it flowers, just leave it alone, let it go to seed and spread its seeds, and it spreads by both seeds and rhizomes. And because nettle is becoming so popular, can actually be over foraged or over harvested in the wild. So you just want to be careful about where you're harvesting. Because it is on the fringe frequently as well, you can find it even on like roadsides. You might want to be careful about where you think, or find out if you can. It's not one I would recommend harvesting on a roadside because of sprays and things like that. So, because the nettle will take all of that up, and then that will get into you too. So you want to try to avoid that. And just make sure if you're buying it from someone that they've ethically foraged or harvested it. If you're looking for other than the local apothecaries, then you could try Mountain Rose Herbs as well. It's a really good place to get it from. So I'm sitting on my yoga pillow today on the floor, so I just need to readjust. All right, the other one, if you're familiar with springtime weeds, is dandelion. So yes, that yellow, cheery lion's head dandelion flower, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Like nettle, there can be some people that can have some allergic reactions to that. It is in the aster or the daisy family. And so German chamomile, dandelion, feverfew, there's quite a few that it's actually one of the largest plant families. So if you know that you are allergic to plants in the aster family, you can try the root instead. That's different, obviously, than the leaves or the flowers. And the constituents are somewhat similar, but there's some differences as well. And sometimes you'll find roasted root actually as a coffee addition. So if you're a coffee drinker and not a tea drinker, then that can be a place that you can, or that's something that you could try. If you're not a tea drinker, you could add the roasted dandelion root to your coffee, almost as like a little herbal supplement. It can be kind of bitter. So nettle I find to be very like greenish brown in flavor. I know that's not like super helpful. And if you let it sit for quite a while, it can get almost mucilaginous, so a little on the chewy side for those people who are texture. Dandelion, I don't find that. It's just very, it's bitter. And it does have, if you've ever broken off like a leaf or a stem that the flower's sitting on, it does have some latex, milky white sap. And that's actually the stuff that's really good, very supportive, again, for your liver. If you dig up the roots now at this time of year, because I'm sure all of us have lots and lots of plants out in our yards and things, and if we don't spray, it can be a really great place to harvest. So the roots at this time of year are going to be less sweet. If you wait until the fall and a frost has hit, just like sometimes happens with some other fruits and vegetables that we're harvesting in the fall, they'll be very sweet because they've concentrated all of those sugars and pulled all those nice plant sugars down into the roots. Does that mean you shouldn't harvest right now of roots? Nah, go for it. If you don't know, if you haven't done any classes with us before, then you don't know that I'm the go do it girl. Anything that's going to get you trying and using the herbs, just whatever it takes to make that happen. whether that's buying or harvesting your own, just get out there and get going. So I'm the just do it girl. Just go do it. All right, so you can do leaves. If you dry them, then that will help, I think, a little bit. If you're not sure about any potential aster daisy family allergies, drying the leaves can help a little bit with that. And I typically don't love fresh herb teas except for in the summer, that'll come in June. So each of the major seasonal transitions, my plan is to do teas. So that'll be the next one. But so most of the rest of the time, I really just like dried. And so I'll just show you my other. You can actually get roasted dandelion root just like this too. And just like I was showing you earlier, I have 2 tea bags. So you can find some brands. That's my particular favorite commercial brand of tea that they sell quite a few individuals. And I'll just combine them together. So like I said, I have 2 tea bags today. And I'll just put 2 tea bags in. It does make a little bit of a stronger tea. Let's see, anything else about dandelion? Same thing as nettle. I don't know that it's quite as energizing. It's a lot more about like moving stagnant energy. So super supportive for your nice liver. That's what your liver is taking all of the things out of your food or your drink that you've consumed and sort of storing it if it's bad or potentially harmful and trying to like keep things moving along. And so the dandelion is super supportive of that. Both nettle and dandelion, because of their pretty powerful supportive action, if you have any kind of health issues like around bile production, liver, kidney, gallbladder, things like that, or digestive, I would really recommend that you check with a qualified health practitioner. So that could be your naturopath, that could be your MD, something like that. Or a nice nurse practitioner, or PA. I have all kinds of friends in the medical fields that run the gamut. Oh, I might have a helper coming. Just a second. Just want to move my tea. Yeah, my helper's coming to join me. I thought that might happen if I set up on the floor. All right, continuing on though with my helper. The very last herb that I wanted to talk about, which isn't necessarily like a specific spring herb, but it is one that I transition to. So I transition away from ginger and I use peppermint instead. In the springtime, that's when the herbs are like at their very bestest. That's Mom and I are always talking that there's just nothing like spring herbs, like the very first growth. And the peppermint is just now starting to emerge. And it's so good, you guys. It's so good. I don't know. It's the best. And I find it to be an interesting mix of cooling and warming. So it's sort of a way to transition away from ginger, which is really spicy and very warming, and find something that's a little bit, just a little bit less warming. So I just need something that gives me, like, takes the edge off of the chill, right? This morning, even though the sun is shining behind me, it was too cold for me to go outside and film this outside. And so I just need something that's a little bit warming to kind of take the edge off the chilly mornings in the spring. And I actually really, really love peppermint and nettle together. And that's what it's in my teacup that I had to move because of my helper here. Yes. Okay. Thank you. She knows that she's on camera, that I'm on film right now, and she can get away with licking my face, even though I really, really, really hate it. All right. So yeah, peppermint is the third herb. So it's not specifically to spring. It is generally considered to be really pretty cooling, but for me, I find it to be like, it does have a little edge of like warming as well. I like it too because sometimes as we're transitioning through the end of winter here into early spring, I do still have some lingering like sinus, and if you have allergies or things like that, I find that sometimes you can get tension headaches. Like today I am fighting a little bit of a tension headache right here after a bad sinus attack earlier in the week. It's been lingering. So I really like it for headaches and just because it is super aromatic when you breathe in the steam, that's my cup that I can't hold because of my helper here. When you breathe in the steam from your cup, it can help clear up like some mucus. It helps thin mucus, things like that. So it can be really good and helpful for those kind of things. And it does work really well with dandelion as well, but I love it with nettle. Really quick too, sometimes you'll see that you'll see nettle recommended as what are called like these really long steep time teas. So like nutritive infusions, and they'll tell you to steep it like overnight for nettle in particular. And the reason is because that helps you get all of those really nice nutrients and things out of there. But remember I was talking before about how it can be a little mucilaginous and almost like chewy, like it's very thick. Don't feel obligated to do it for that long. Like you can do it for I just put the tea bag in, about 40 minutes ago. So I made my tea at like 9:40ish or so. So it's been, brewing for about 40 minutes. And it's not a tea that I normally, like I wouldn't leave my nettle tea bag in there all day like I do some other times with other herbs, and prepared or purchased tea. But, I'll probably leave it in there for another hour and it'll be okay. And I like the peppermint because it helps take care of just that like slightly slippery feel, maybe is a good way to put it. And it just, I don't know, I love the peppermint and nettle. It's so good. So that's my favorite spring tea is nettle and peppermint together. It's so delicious. I'm just checking really quick. Danita, you were asking about Mountain Rose Herbs. You can actually order it online. They are based in Eugene, Oregon, and they are a family-owned but large herb company. And if you want, I can post their link in the event here when I'm done, because I have a couple other resources. Were there any other questions real quick before I switch over to my extra resources for this month? I don't know if Danita is still here, but I'll get that for you, I promise. And I may have to kick my helper out of here. Hopefully she won't knock the camera over. All right, well, as I always do every single month, good, great. As I do every month, I usually have a couple of other resources to share for you. Last month, it was my friend Pam. She has this coloring group called More Color, More Calm. And that one's always really nice. Get some coloring pages and color while you hang out with me on Saturday morning. So I mentioned specifically traditional medicinals. I also have peppermint. I just keep this in the house all the time. Like this, I always have a box. And part of it is because if my kid overeats, which he has a tendency to do sometimes, or he eats too fast and he gets a little tummy ache, takes care of that right away. One other of their blends. Okay, you have to go. No, I know you like the tea. Go on. Go. There you go. Okay. One other of the tea blends that I sort of like of theirs is their Everyday Detox. And this one has dandelion and stinging nettle, the leaves in it. And then it also has cleavers, which is another springtime herb. And I can always talk about that one maybe next month. We'll see. And then it does have a little bit of dandelion, cleavers, and stinging nettle, and a little bit of lemon myrtle leaf, which that was the one I wasn't. But I have had it before, and it is really pretty good. A little bit of honey, depending on, because of the dandelion. It's a little bitter. So yeah, and again, you can get them all individually and mix them that way. And that's a good way to just buy the tea bags, try it out, see what you think about the flavor. And then if you decide, I'd like a little less dandelion and a little more peppermint like Erin likes, then you could go to Mountain Rose Herbs and buy individual herbs and start making or blending your own teas if you want. But starting with just the box of the individuals. So I have nettle, I have dandelion, and I have my peppermint. And you can just put three tea bags together. There's no rules. Shh, rules. Make your own rules and do what works for you. So there's that. And then actually, so mountain rose herbs, traditional medicinals, individual tea bags are a good way to start. And then there is another mom that owns a very amazing tea blending business. Her name is Sally Kiesler, and it's called Mama Tia. And I'll post it down below. And she has one blend in particular. I'm trying to see if I can find the name of it here on my laptop next to me, called Revitalize. And it has dandelion and nettle in it, along with a few others. And so I can make sure to post that as well. I'm just checking my notes. Oh, and then my freebie for you for this month is that I recorded a little, hi Karen, I recorded a little tea time meditation for you. So this was the other reason why I wanted to sit. You can't see it because of the amazing sunshine, but you know, here's my little house plant. That's my nature for today. Although I'm gonna try to get out into the woods after I'm done with this talk and enjoy the sunshine that way. Sometimes that's not always feasible though, right? Like we just can't get outside, or we feel like we can't. I'm blocking my helper, who's probably gonna be determined enough to come back anyway. And so what I do sometimes in the morning is when I have my tea, I will take my tea, and the instructions are there in the little meditation, and I'll post a link to the recorded meditation. And it's exactly what I call it. It's my tea time, like minute meditation, and I just do a little visualization about nature, and I breathe in the steam, and I thank the herbs, and you know, it's not like getting out in the forest, but it's pretty dang close, and it's better than nothing at all. And it's good for taking just a minute to like taste your tea and thank the herbs and be, you know, in yourself for at least 1 minute before you get pulled away to whatever myriad number of other things you have to do, right? Since I have it here, I'm going to take a sip. Oh, all right. And so that's the freebie. And then one last thing that I wanted to share, because I love sharing all of my amazing friends. So many of them have fantastic resources that I think you would all find very helpful as well. My amazing friend Karen, who I think is still on here, she is doing, she's a nutritionist, and she's doing this new cool program. This will be her second time running it, and it's called Nourishing Your Roots. And it's just I don't know, it's so many great things that she puts in there. And I'm sure she talks about teas and things like that as well. But she talks about sleep. So I've been working with her a little bit on some nutrition and changing diet, but also around sleep. Sleep is always a challenging thing for me, and it's something that she's worked really hard on over the years, and so she has a lot of really good advice and suggestions, and she's a great problem solver. And so okay, there we go. You can't see her. She's not showing up in the camera. There she is. There she is, showing up in the camera view. She is all in my business. So I'll be sure to post a link to Karen's Nourishing Your Roots program in case that's something that you might be interested in. So don't forget those 3 herbs: nettles, dandelion, and peppermint. Go ahead and try them out. See what you think about them. Within the event, if you have more questions, you're welcome to post those questions, and I'm happy to answer any questions about what we talked about. Feel free to come back and rewatch this. And I really hope to see all of you next month, April, so second Saturday, 10 a.m. And I'm thinking we might do something around hair care, but if there's something specific around herbal self-care that you would like to know, or you would like to have me possibly talk about, I'll take ideas and suggestions. I'm very open to those. So I'll hang out maybe just for another minute or so if anybody has any other questions. And other than that, just get out there, get outside, some fresh air, and try out the herbs. Oh, you're such a helper. Are you a helper? Yeah. All right, thanks everyone.